Hi guys, it's Sue at Miller's Laboratory. Hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to start making some new journals, and I was digging through my stash of incredibly interesting stuff, and I remembered that I have about 50 of these old X-ray film envelopes. I got these several years ago when a chiropractor that I know, they were switching to digital x-rays and they were getting rid of all of their old stuff. And so they had a ton of these envelopes, and these are really huge. They are, let me see, I'm measuring it here on my grid, 17 and a quarter or so by, let's see, 14 and a half. So they're really huge. Okay. I love this kind of stuff, right? But they've been sitting there because this is almost like too big, and I really couldn't figure out how to use them. Like, if this was a journal, how would I ever, if somebody wanted to buy it, how would I ever ship it to them? It's so long, right? So the other night I brought a couple of them up while I was watching TV, and I played around a little bit to see a couple of ideas for what I could do with these. So the first one was this. You can see I folded it more than once here. Here's the envelope, and this one actually, no, that's as big. What I did with this one, do it this way, is I just took the open end and I folded it up like that, okay? And then I could fold this in half, and I would have a very traditionally sort of sized book. It would wind up being, let's get it back on the grid here, 10 or so by a little over 7, okay? And I would have a pocket here, and if I glued this or bound it, I would have a pocket here. And the same thing on the other side. I can put my signature in here. I kind of chose where I would fold it so that I could use a full sheet of paper in here on its side. And I would have to add an extension. If I wanted it to fill out the whole thing, I would have to glue something on the end of it, but that's easy to do. So that was my first idea, and I think that's totally doable. Okay. And then the second one, instead of folding it the short way, this way, I folded the side up this way, like, that's about 3 inches that I folded that up. And I thought, okay, that can be a pocket here. Okay. And then I can do like a tri-fold, and I can fold this in here and then this here. And then we have a tall skinny journal, and that would be 11 and a half by roughly 5 and a half. So to me, this seems like a cool idea, okay? Because what I can do is I can have a full piece of paper the long way, fold it in half, and that will make a good page. And I can bound some pages here, and then I can also bind some over here, so it'll be like a double. So this is the more appealing idea to me. I might do some the other way too, but this is what I want to start with. So if you can get your hands on some of these, it would be fun to play with. Otherwise, you can just watch me work, and you could make something similar with, you know, like a 9 by 12 manila envelope. You can definitely do that. If you're interested in that, you can go back in my older videos and you'll see videos of that too. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is, this is already a pocket, and I would use that as a pocket to slip things in that front cover. The other 2 panels here, I would like to be useful in some way. And so one of the things I want to do is I'm going to put a couple of slot pockets in this back one. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. So what I do is I have a handy dandy little smaller, really beat up and well used and well loved cutting mat, and I can slip that right inside and get it underneath here so I can cut through the top layer without cutting through the whole thing. So we're going to get there. Let's get that lined up there. Okay. Now, if I put a slot pocket here, you just have to remember that is going to be a super tall tag to put in there. So maybe I want to create a slot pocket here and then glue this and then make another slot pocket here so we can put two shorter things in there. That seems like a better idea to me. And then maybe we can have something longer on this side. So what I'm going to be doing is just the cutting right now. I'm not worried about dividing it up or gluing anything into sections, okay? What I did is I cut a couple of pieces of old book paper, book page here, and I'm going to want to center these about where these fold lines are. I didn't make those fold lines really crisp because I figured that's kind of a fluid thing. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to wind up, but this is roughly where it's going to be. So I'm going to put one way up here near the top, and then we'll say like one here. And I'm going to go ahead and glue those down right now. And you know what? One other thing that I think I want to do before I glue them down is round. I think I want to round the corners. So let me grab my corner rounder. Just going to round them a little bit. So I hope everybody's doing well. I'm actually filming this a little bit early because I'm going to be gone this weekend. I'm going to be going down to visit my son. He lives in Southfield, which is the Detroit area. And if I'm lucky, you guys know what that means, is that I'll be going to the John King bookstore. I'm kind of hoping I can do that this time. We didn't go the last time I was there because you can't do it every time, you know. But I'm due for a book fix. So, all right. So those are just slightly rounded off, and I like how that looks better. Okay. All right. So now get back to the glue here. We'll glue those down. And we'll see how well this glue wants to cooperate. It's been sitting here for a few days unused, and sometimes it takes a little poking with a pin to get it going. I am going to try to really glue this down well because I'm going to be cutting through it, and I don't want any pieces to tear out or anything. So I'm going to just kind of spread this a little bit with my finger, especially in the middle, so that part is really glued down well. We'll get it on there. We're just going to guess. It's a guessing game. All right. And I do want the letters to, or the text to be going in the same direction. So turn that around. Make sure I don't put it on upside down. So I hope everybody is having a great day, a great week. Summer is kind of winding down, and I hope you're getting everything you can out of it before it's too late. The weather has turned very pleasant here over the last couple of days. It's been cooler and not so horribly humid, which all of us here appreciate greatly. Yeah, we'll come about down to there, I think. Okay. All right. And I'm going to let those sit for a second before I do the cutting. All right, I think that's pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and just turn this. Oops. When I turn it, it looks to me like they're not quite even, but I'm not going to sweat it. We're not going to worry about it too much. don't know what I did with the pin for that. We'll find it. Oh, here it is. Let's get the pin back on that glue. All right. So we're going to take our handy dandy little ruler. And we're going to cut 2 lines in here about 1/8 of an inch apart, I would say, will be good. And not quite all the way to the end of the paper. And again, I'm just eyeballing. I'm eyeballing it. This is kind of an experiment, so okay. And I'm just going to pull this a little bit a ways, and we're going to do it again. And then while I'm doing those cuts, I'm just going to come down here and do the same thing on this one. This one I'm not sure is as dry, but I think it's okay. And this one didn't get quite as centered as the other one. This is an experiment, as I said. Okay. All right, now I can just make a quick little cut on the ends of these. Okay. And pull that little piece out. Ah, come back. There we go. All right. And now we have a slot pocket that we can slip something down into. Okay. All right. I like it. I like it so far. Okay. I'm going to take that out. And then on this side, I'm not sure how I want the pocket to be. I don't want the whole side to be open like this. I think that'll be too wishy-washy. So I'm thinking I might just cut it along the top. And I'm not going to do that right now because I want to wait until I know exactly where that is going to fold. So we're not going to do anything with that right now. But what I am going to do right now is go in while I can get inside the envelope nice and easy. And I'm going to put some glue kind of along here, just in a rough line. I'm going to put some glue right above this slot going across so that when you put something in this pocket, it will stop right here. And then I think I'm going to leave that one longer. And then I'm going to add a little bit of glue down here too. And we'll be reinforcing that with something too later on. But I'm going to go ahead and grab the glue and we're just going to do those things. I'm going to open this up because it'll give me a little bit more room to get in there. And I'm also just going to fold that a little bit more so that when I go inside the envelope, it's easy for me to see the rough area of where that needs to be. And I know you guys aren't really going to be able to see this because I can't possibly turn this so that you can see inside. So you're just going to have to trust me here. I'm just going in with my glue and putting a little bit along where that fold is. Just enough so that it has a sticking point. It doesn't have to be perfect because especially for these, if we stitch pages in there, that's going to hold it closed anyway. So it's more just to keep things sturdy while we're working on the book. All right, now I think to make this just a little less bulky, I'm going to cut away the inside layer of this flap so that it is only one thickness of paper thick. One layer of paper thick instead of two. Sorry, this is so big. So I'm just going to come in here with my scissors and I'm going to cut just above this fold line and just below this one. Okay, so I want a little bit of reinforcement on that edge. So I'll glue that edge down. Should have done this before I put the glue in there because that is making this a little tricky. I wish I'd thought of it before that, but I can get my scissors through there still and do it because I didn't glue it completely. just going to come, sorry, almost to the end there, and then we'll cut it from here, same thing, and leave a little bit of an edge there. And just take that right off. Ooh. All right. Ooh. Extra bits there. Okay, so now I have this, and I'm going to glue the top down so that that's nice and reinforced and strong. And then we'll just glue the that little weird corners off of there. And we'll glue the pocket up, and then we'll have that part done. I really don't have this planned out, if you couldn't tell. And that's not normally how I do stuff, but we're trying it this time. So you'll get to see all of the oopsies and bad decisions. Now I'm also going to just put some glue right under here so that that pocket is glued closed. And here I want to get the glue right up to the edge of this strip of paper so that it doesn't cause problems when I put things in the pockets. And I'll show you what else I'm going to do just to make that nice and smooth. Alright, so I'm gluing that down, I'm gluing this down. Good. Now, this is going to be the bottom of the pocket. Okay, things are going to go in this way. And I don't want things to bump up against this edge and not be able to go all the way to the bottom of the pocket. So I'm just going to run some tape all along there. That will make a nice smooth edge. And I could use washi tape, or I could use Scotch tape. That's fine. I'm going to use this washi tape because I have it right here. I'm not particularly fond of it, so I don't mind using it on the inside of a pocket where it won't be seen. You know how that is. If you buy washi tape and you get a package, there's always one or two in there that you don't really like. May as well find a use for those. All right. And I'm just going to kind of burnish that down good. If it's not sticking very well, I could glue that down too. And you could just glue a strip of paper along there too, instead of the washi tape, if that works better for you. All right, so now we have that all thinned out a bit and ready to be a pocket. And I am going to glue down here in the in-betweens where these folds are. And again, this is going to get covered up with fabric, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Just some extra reinforcement there. And then also we're going to have to glue it here. And this we were going to want to be really secure, so a good amount of glue in there along that edge. Over here, same thing. All right, now I think I will do one more thing for this video, and that is that I am going to go find the fabric that I want to wrap around those spines. Okay. So that'll give all of this glue a chance to dry a little bit. And I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have some ticking. Good old ticking. I have lots of this. I love the way that it looks. So that's my choice for this. It's very ravelly. I don't care. I like that look too. So I just tore 2 lengths of this. Look at all that fuzz. All right. And we're just going to use tacky glue and glue it on. And I'm going to start on the inside, wrap it all the way around, and come back to where I started. So let's do this one. And I know you can't see that crease very well, but it's right here. So I'm going to run this right. It's going to kind of go right up against that slot pocket. And that will be nice because you won't see so much that they're not exactly even. Yay. All right. So let's start about here. All right. And I'm just going to put tacky glue on and spread it. Oh, look at how well that's coming out. Isn't that sweet? That never happens. Come over here. Give that a spread. You can see this is on there pretty thick. We want it to be very secure and no troubles. We don't want any troubles. Okay. Now I've left that just a little bit of that edge because I like the torn look. And when I come all the way around, I'm going to have to trim the end to the right length, and then I can glue that down over it so that that cut edge won't show. Now with the stripes, you always have this issue of trying to make them look straight. That is the toughest thing about the ticking, but it'll be fine. All right, we're going to turn this like this. And we're going to run this right up all the way. Try to be straight with my glue line here. And I haven't done anything here to cover any of that up yet. And I probably will. But you know, I don't hate that sort of grungy, reused, recycled sort of look. So I will decide that later. How I want to handle that. I hope most of that is on camera. When you're working with something this big, it's a little on the tricky side. All right, and I'm doing my best to keep this straight because I don't want to flip this over and then have it way off and they don't meet up in the inside. Just wipe off your extra glue there. All right, and then we'll come back around here, and that's pretty good. Looks like we got a little bit this way, so I am going to just guide that slightly to the right here, just slightly, like that. Okay, so that comes down nice and meets up. I think that's pretty good. All right, yeah, we're going to deal with these for a little bit until everything is all glued down. Okay. So we're going to come down to here. I'm just going to cut this off now. It's got very gluey fingers, which makes things interesting. Okay. And then I'll be able to just tuck that right underneath and have that pretty torn edge on the top like that. Okay, so we'll get our glue run down here. Oh, I'm so happy that the tacky glue is just coming right out. You guys know how that is. Sometimes you're squeezing and squeezing. So it's a lucky day for that, for sure. Any kind of white glue is fine for this. You can do it however you want if you're making one of these. All right. Maybe if I sell these, I'll include, you know, a blank envelope with it so that you can make your own at home. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. If you made it to this far in the video, let me know. All right, a little bit of glue here on our little end. All right, and then we're going to let that dry really good before we do any folding. Just going to let it dry flat like that. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on this one. Just follow that same pattern, so I'll speed this up good. All right, all set. All our fabric is glued down. We're going to let that sit really good, and I think I'll call this the end of this video. Next time we meet, that will be all dry. We'll be able to fold it up. I will print the papers that I want and gather the papers that I want to use, and we'll stitch in our signatures and start finishing this off. So thanks for joining me today. Hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.